Hey, welcome back. I'm Sage Berger, and as always, my mission is to help you achieve your mission. And in today's video, you are going to dive deep into 30 minutes or just over 30 minutes of live training that I did. And I wanted you to watch this because these fundamentals that I show and teach and share in these videos is the fundamentals that's helped me to level up my communication skills. And with all of that said, I also want to put out a few disclaimers there. There's people like Jordan Belfort, Andy Frisella, Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins, Bedros Keuilian, Ruben Gonzalez, Chris Voss, and many more. There's people that has helped me to get to the point where I need to be with my communication. And all of that knowledge that I gained from them, I am now giving to you in these 30 minutes. I am not claiming that this is my work, that this is my own stuff that I'm trying to get you to follow. These is principles that's proven, tried and tested by others, and they teach this, they taught me this, and I used it and it worked. There's more than this, but this is the super fundamental things. If you can take these elements over the next 30 minutes, write down keynotes on it and go and apply that in your life starting immediately, your communication level will tenfold, 20-fold, 30-fold. You will be way more efficient and you will get your point across. You'll be able to express yourself in a non-threatening way, but also in an assertive way if you need to. So dive deep into it and enjoy. So the 7% is your words, okay? The words is the things that come out your mouth. The 38% is tone. And the tone is how you land the things that come out your mouth. It's the way they come across.
Yeah.
And that is in the tone of voice more than in the words of voice. Mm-hmm. And then that's like the one half, and the other half is body language. So this is not body language, and that's body language. So it's the two kind of like categories that you can put it in.
Okay.
So your body language is the thing that anchors your communication. If you walk into a place or you want to even just do a phone call in a different way, you change your body language and the tone and the stuff changes by itself. Mm. And if someone used to press, if you walk like that, like eventually you also talk like that when you walk like that the whole time. But if you walk up with your shoulders back, even though you feel the press, you just pull your shoulders back, your tone changes. So your body language anchors what you do, and your tone delivers what you want to deliver, and your words direct the conversation.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
Yes, 100%.
The words only take the conversation to a place. It doesn't mean anything else. Yeah. But the way that you say the words means everything.
Yeah, because even with the tone of voice, it's kind of a way to subtly also direct the conversation.
Exactly.
In a way of not saying the words, like for example, having a curious kind of tone,
right,
steers the direction of the conversation once again.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So if you get the body language and the tone right, you can say whatever you want to. You're pretty much going to get yourself across in a decent way.
Okay.
In a way that someone else knows exactly where they stand with you. Because that's really what you need to get across if you're in a everyday life conversation. Does it make sense?
Yes.
And then if you're in a sales conversation, then your tone is a little bit different because of the setting of it. But the principles stay the same.
Okay.
Now, just to give a quick rundown on the words. The words that you can use is, first of all, everything that you say, don't say why. Don't ask, why did you do that? Why? Avoid why. And say, what made you do that? Or what? Ask a what question. You can also turn the what question or a question, why question, into a label. Like we've spoken about labels.
Yes.
So you can also, instead of saying like, why did you do that? You can say like, hey, it seems like you did that because da, 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 da. And then you start the conversation.
Okay.
Does it make sense? So you can also label. You can also use things that's called mirrors. So if someone say, hey man, thank you the other night, I really enjoyed that, and you want them to expand on that sentence, you can say, the other night? It's called a mirror. So my tone was like curious, and I said the other night, I repeated 3 to 5 words in their sentence, and their brain automatically will just start expanding. They can't help it because their neuroscience works that way.
Okay.
And if someone uses a mirror on you, if you and I communicate with mirrors, we can have a whole conversation only with mirrors. If you deliberately ask them in a way to get information.
Because it's also with the mirrors, just to expand, it's kind of not a way to take attention away from you, but gain knowledge in a way.
Yes.
You say.
Yes.
Gain info, gain anything about this person.
Yes. Yes, and if you're in a competitive situation, you're gaining dominant position as you go, because you're gaining more and more and more in a competitive vibe. In a non-competitive vibe, it's exactly what you just said. Okay, so that is our examples. We can do some other training on like more detail on words, but that's examples of like how your words is going to do the things. You're going to come up with those scripts and those things we spoke about.
Yes.
Then the second thing with the tone is there's like 3 voices that you can use. Well, there's actually 29 different tones formally, but there's 3, you can break it down into 3 ways of delivering. The first one is a down tone. When you speak with a down tone, you drop your chin, just neutral. That's very assertive. It's like you don't really give any options when you speak like that.
Okay.
If you have an up tone, then it's more friendly, more inviting. And you just lift your chin up a little bit, and it happens. Body language. See what I'm saying? So now you've got an up tone and a down tone. So you can control with your body language how assertive you are and how friendly you are. If you feel depressed, you can force a smile. So if you force a smile, your brain automatically registers, and you become up to 30% smarter as a human. And if you smile and the other human on the other side, in their brain there's mirror neurons, and they pick up the smile and it makes it mirror on that side, and before you know it, they are also smiling and they are also up to 30% smarter, and everything is much easier to resolve.
Okay.
And that's all choices. Like you can choose those things, no matter how you feel, no matter what's going on, you can choose to do it regardless. And then you anchor the tone with the body language. So that is the way that I found it's the easiest to do it.
Okay.
And then with body, okay, so the 3 voices first. So the first one is upbeats, the second one is downbeats, the third one is when you slow down. When you, just like those mirror neurons picks up the smile, when you slow down, the brain picks up, oh, it slowed down, and it also slows down. It can't help itself.
Yeah.
So when you slow down and you just easily speak to people, then it sinks in more, it feels a bit more like controlled. Yeah, you feel that it's like it's, and everything is just fine. Even if that person is going crazy, you just slow down. And if you want to speak up a little bit, suddenly the vibe change again.
Yeah.
So you can change it in an instant, it moves like that. And this is slow and easy, that last one. So I was just slow and easy. That's all. So slow and easy is good if you want to get your point across, and you know you might offend them.
Yeah.
Okay, then it's like you just slow and easy into it, rather than coming with upturns and downturns and you're all over the place, and that person interprets you with downturns as being upset and angry at them. Does that make sense?
Yes, 100%.
So that is the three ways you can play with your voice. And with the body language, okay, so we did this handshake.
Yes.
So when you handshake for the camera, neutral. If someone grabs you like this, it means they think they can get you.
Yeah.
And if you do this and they get the other way, they would think like, oh, I can get him. And you will go, oh, I don't know. That's just that's how it works. So if you greet, you always greet with the neutral. And that way, you start off on like a 0.
Okay.
That's with your first encounter. Okay, so that is the body language part from there. From there, when you speak with your hands, when your hands is up, it's inviting. When your hands is down, it's hyper.
Yeah.
So if I say, hey, come here, or hey, come here,
Yeah.
you feel the difference.
Yeah.
Like
It's the inviting part that kind of takes it's a controlled, I feel trusted in whatever we're going through.
Exactly.
It's that building of trust.
Exactly. And when it's like this, you feel more like, what do you mean?
Yeah, it's like I don't have a choice. I have to.
Yeah, well, I'm like, hey, let's go this way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then when the finger comes out, that goes beyond. So when you talk with your finger, karate chops is better.
Yeah.
So if you go going with the karate chops, much better. It's better just to focus your hands up, body language. So you get your chin up, you smile, hands up. Dude, you are like 90% the conversation's yours. It's already yours. Like you just got to figure the vocab out in terms of getting around and to get around with.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
100%.
Yeah, and there's much more, but I mean that's the basic, fundamental part of using the 73855 rule. First of all, what the gather intel part is like we first have to determine like why do we gather intel? Because like what are you trying to achieve? If you are trying to sell something to someone, you are gathering intelligence so that you can understand the situation and can see whether the solution that you have for them is working and it's for them. And if it is for them, you move forward and you get them to buy that from you. If you're having a fight with your girlfriend, you are gathering intelligence not to sell her something, but to find out how is she feeling, so what is the problem? So see, it's the same thing, what's the problems? And then you try to communicate your perspective, which should be a solution to the problem.
Exactly.
Does that make sense? So the gather intel part, the number one thing that I found I did wrong, and then when I looked around I saw everyone else does it, is that when I gathered information, I didn't ask the right questions.
Okay.
Like we just think like, hey, you got to talk a lot, and actually you have to listen a lot, and your words 7%. So you use the words to direct the conversation, and then you let them talk because they're giving you information. And as long as they give you information, if you're in a gathering intel part of a conversation, then you just let them talk. There's no need for you to talk unless you want to steer the conversation in a certain way. Then we go back to those labels, mirrors and stuff. You can just tweak the direction, and then eventually get the words out their mouth that we need to move forward with. Does that make sense?
100%.
Okay. So some of the questions. The first thing, the number one mistake I'm mentioning was that people say why. When they say why, when you say why, someone feels accused. They feel judged, like you're the enemy now, like what's going on, and it shuts their systems down. They become dumber. Literally, they become dumber. So you want to always come with anything other than a why. Unless when you are in a sales conversation, there's one exception, and that is in a sales conversation or in a conversation where you want to connect with someone in a very deep way. You ask them, why us? In a business context, it's like, why are you choosing us against everyone else that's out there? And them then saying those words makes it the truth for them. And now you can move forward on a solid close.
Okay.
Where if you're like, that's the only why that you use. Outside of that, any why question can be turned into a what question. Or you can have a how question. So, what questions and how questions is two ways for you to use words to now gather intelligence. What made you do that instead of why did you do that?
Exactly. Even you saying what made you do that, I don't feel attacked.
Yeah.
I feel, why did I do that?
Exactly.
Instead of, oh no, I don't want to tell you because now it's my opinion or whatever. So.
Exactly. So, or how did you get to make that decision? It's like, we know that was done, right? Okay, but how did you get to do that? And then, well, why did you do it? It doesn't work. Like, people just go, oh, and I do that. If people say why to me, I get all aggressive.
Yeah.
Because it's like, dude, like, what do I have to do with you? And if you just switch it up, you can do that. So that is, when you gather intel, the number one thing that you can do to just gain control of your own conversations with people is make sure that you don't say why anymore. Don't say why. Just get why out of it. And don't say but. Learn to speak without the word but.
Okay.
Because if I say to you, hey Xander, I think you're awesome, but.
Yeah. It's like you're contradicting yourself.
That now doesn't count anymore.
Yeah.
Like that's now irrelevant because whatever comes after but replaces that.
Exactly.
So it's rather like, hey Xander, I think you're going to think I'm an arsehole now. I think this is not a good idea.
Yeah.
Rather than saying, but this is not a good idea.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like that, but just doesn't.
And also, I feel that with but especially, it's like it's an easier way of saying that whatever you said is completely wrong and it doesn't correlate with what I say. It's a nice way of saying it.
Yeah, but it's also when you say yeah, but you're cutting that person off. If I said to you, okay, dude, I don't like it when you did that, and you go like your but, immediately you didn't even hear what I said.
Yeah,
like you didn't even take it in. You just reacted with a but.
Exactly.
And like one of my coaches say, never put your butt in people's face. But I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. So the word but is a good thing. And then also gathering intelligence when there's words that makes people suspicious. There's the word only. If I say to you, like, dude, it's only going to be, like immediately you get suspicious because like the word only, now only minimizes, so I can say you're only 17.
Yeah, it kind of also just...
It's like, yeah, it's not looking down.
Yeah.
You know, or you're just 17, it's the second word, only and just. I'm just going to smoke this one cigarette. I'm only going to have one beer. No, I'm going to have one beer. Because that only turns into 4, 5, 6. Doesn't make sense. So when you use the language yourself as only and just a lot, there's places to use those words if you want to minimize something. If I say to you, I look dude, this program is actually $8,000, 7,999. But today you are the second person that, or you're one of the last 2 people that still can qualify for it, and it's only $700. I've now communicated that. With that only, it was very deliberate.
Yeah, it was targeted at me.
Yes.
Especially.
Yes, it was just me talking to you, making decisions.
Exactly.
It wasn't me minimizing something. Does it make sense? And in a way, I did minimize your neuroscience, keeping calm, but that's a tactical use of the word. So in your vocabulary, if you just spew words, you have all these reactions out of people.
Yeah.
The less words you use, the less reactions you get, the more you listen, the more intel you get.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Perfect.
So these ones we definitely want to stay away from. Why and but is also things you don't want to do. And then you change all your questions into what and how questions. A generic question, I'll end with this. And you can ask questions if you like.
Perfect.
A generic question. What's the chance? Fill the blank.
Okay.
So, Xander, what's the chance I can get a glass of water? Xander, what's the chance if you can go? Xander, what's the chance you wash your mom? What's the chance? What's the chance? If you can get that as a habit, what's the chance? It's a non-threatening way to ask stuff. If you don't ever ask, you're never going to get intel.
Exactly.
If you don't ask, you're not going to say, I'm sure, blah, 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 blah. So you've got to get into the habit of doing that. So this is a generic question that you can just use whenever you want to ask someone something. What's the chance I can borrow that thing?
Perfect. just to maybe add on to what's the chance.
Yes.
When you said what's the chance, I feel, oh, okay, so he genuinely wants to know. It's
Yes.
like a genuine connection of, I want to know what are the actual chances.
Right.
Instead of saying, for example, what is it okay or can I?
No.
It's like, I
And
don't have a
and I'm also
choice.
I'm not trying to get you to say yes.
Exactly.
I don't want people to say yes and I say no, because a no is actually a yes. So this is just what's the chance, and it's more like, hey dude, it's 10%. Hey dude, it's 90. It's 10. Okay, so how do I get to 50?
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? And if someone goes like, oh, I don't know, it's like, oh, 10%, 50%, 80%, I'll say those three. And they'll go, oh, 50. Most people, 50. And I'm like, okay, so what's it going to take me to 75?
Yeah, perfect. There you go.
What question? Boom.
Okay.
Doesn't make sense. Why 50? Why not 80?
Exactly.
Same question, but in a different way.
Exactly.
Doesn't
So
make
what
sense.
questions?
What
What and
questions?
how questions?
Yeah, yeah. So you can draw things. You can have a what, how. I'll have a quick one with you. What is your favorite color?
Orange.
Orange. What about orange is your favorite? Or make it your favorite color?
I think it's the uniqueness of the color and not having it be everyone's favorite color.
Right. So how would you say that answer you just gave me now makes you different from other people?
So, okay, I see where you're
So
going.
yes, boom, you just go into combo. Off you go. Then you can also, I can give you what in a label or a mirror. So I like labels more than mirrors. So it's like, what's your favorite color?
Orange.
Orange. What about orange makes it your favorite color?
The uniqueness, not everybody likes it.
It sounds like you put a lot of value on being unique and standing out.
Yes, 100%. I do.
That's right.
And there you go.
You see, that's right. So that was just summarizing what you said. Oh yeah, I listened to what you had to say. I assumed an obvious assumption. It's like, oh, okay, he thinks it makes things unique, so it must be important to him.
Yeah.
Not necessarily to be unique, but uniqueness.
In a whole.
It's a value for him. And then from there you start getting into the combo. Now before you know it, you got that was Intel.
Yeah.
And it was 3 questions, short answers, you get to it.
Perfect.
Alright.
What and how?
Awesome. Lekker. Okay, cool. So ending combos. The biggest thing about ending the combo is that I think it's the hardest thing for me personally. It's the hardest thing is that you need to end it positively. And the definition of ending it positive is both parties walk away. Even if this actually applies to when it's a bad deal. Because it's easy when it's a good deal. But if it's a bad deal, you want to exit the partnership, the agreement, or whatever it was, and you want them to think, I'll speak to them again. Even although it went bad, I'll speak to them again. It's not always possible. Well, I suppose it's a choice for you, but we as humans, with our reactions and our emotions, it gets in the way. You sometimes won't make it possible for you. And then at a later stage, you will mature to a point where those things won't happen in real time. But as you grow, you make those mistakes. Does it make sense? So that is the biggest thing, is if they walk away and they're like, oh, I'll speak to him again. Next time when they see you, they remember the lasting impression, which was like, hey, I'll speak to you again. And you can talk to me again. Or they're going to see you and they remember something different, which was an aggressor, whatever it was, and they would avoid you.
Yeah.
Like I've seen people hide. For me, people are hiding in grocery stores, like when they see me, like, I've seen them do it. I'm like, that's weird. And I have to think about those things, and then I realize, oh, I see. And I make those adjustments.
Yeah.
Suddenly they smile and they're friendly and everything. Like, oh, wow. So I make the adjustment, and it happens
Yeah.
in the reality over there. So, ending your convo can be with gratitude. I like to use gratitude, just like, hey man, listen, I really appreciate that you are here tonight. Or, like, thank you so much that you did that. Mean it, not just like say it because you have to. In the beginning, if you're someone who's not grateful and you want to get that habit, you have to say it like you mean it. And it is awkward, it's terrible to say because you feel fake. But if you do it long enough, you can pick that up where you can just end it with gratitude. Or you can end it with regards. With regards, you can say kind regards, you know. If you're kind, if you see yourself as a kind person, or sincere. If I have, sorry guys, sincere. So if I have a conversation that's difficult to end positively, I will end it with sincere regards. Like, I'm sincere. Does it make sense?
There's no bad blood, nothing between
Yeah. It's all good, like, but this is not going to happen.
Okay.
So without saying the but, the sincere regards finishes off without but.
Okay.
Does it make sense? Okay. So that is ways that you can go about ending the conversation.
Okay.
Then you can have lines. You can memorize lines that work. I've got a few, especially when you're selling things, where if you've got 3 or 4 lines that you can just put in your pocket to end a convo and walk off. You know?
Yeah.
And one of the ones that really works is like, look, I'm sure I'm gonna look rude now. Put that chat. I'm sure I am going to look rude now. I mean, don't say but. You just say, look rude now. Or in a sound rude now, even. It's also fine. And you say, I've got to. And you say, whatever you need to do, that's what you need to do now. And off you go. And that way, when you say, look, I'm sure, and you point it out, it diffuses the situation.
Yeah.
And you get out of there. That's how you end the combo if you need to end the combo.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
You know, you get people to talk too much. And they
Yeah.
just go and they go. That's how you do it.
Okay.
At one line. Otherwise, it's like, hey, thanks. I mean, you say to me thanks all the time at the end of conversations.
Yeah.
So do I, so do people that are grateful in general. So that is the one thing. If someone is not grateful, then I would recommend them in my coaching, we need to build a habit of gratitude.
Yeah.
And then have it in that top section and let them think that every day. I'm grateful. So it becomes a thing.
Okay. Oh, perfect.
All right.
Ending combos.
All right, fantastic. So closing. Closing, okay. The number one phrase in closing that you need to get, remember, everything that you want to be the truth has to come out of that person's mouth for it to be the truth. If they don't say it, it's not true, no matter how much you say it.
Okay.
So you have to develop a skill where you can listen to someone, like we had in some of these other trainings,
Yes.
and then paraphrase back to them, summarize what they said in your whole,
Yeah.
and put it back to them, and then their response must be something like, yeah, that's right. Like, exactly, like, you know, when they really, like, boom, they agree, like, on a fundamental level. Not just like, yeah, that's cool. It's like, that's right. When you get that, that means that they have accepted this now as a truth.
As their truth.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're like, yeah, that's right, you got it. Now, you need to get them to say it. That's the closing part. That's from my experience. Does it make sense?
Yes.
So, we talk about anything. We spoke with the examples in the other videos about your color orange, and you are got a yes, that's right out of you. That's exactly that. So from that point, I've got that's right first. Okay, so again, that's right is you summarize what they said. You say what they said just in other words, in your words. And then you test Yeah. And if they get a 10%, then you go again until you hit the one that works. Does it make sense?
Yes.
So once you've got to the what's that's right, now you need to guide with your words. So you need to get to a what and a how question, okay? So how can we move forward with this? Okay? Because what you want to do is, this was the ultimate yes, right? Like again, you say no for this, and they have all this autonomy and they keep talking to you. But when they say that's right, that's now saying, okay, sweet, yeah.
Let's move forward.
How yes. So when you get the yes over there, yes is nothing without how. Nothing. If they say, yeah, sure, you still have to implement. Remember, this stuff, self-improved specifically, is hard. Losing weight is hard. Changing habits is hard. So if they say yes, but they don't utter the words for the implementation, it's not their truth.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
On a logic level. So from there, you got to always get the yes backed up with the how. They're going to tell you, okay, so how can we move forward with this today? How can we move forward? How can we, anything, doesn't matter. It's a how question, because you get them to tell you what it's going to be. If they give the wrong answer to what it should be, then you go back to that's right. So, okay, so it sounds like you don't agree with me 100%. Yeah, you know, that's right. Okay, it sounds like if I do this and this and this and this and this, it might be a better fit for you.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so what can we do to move forward now? Can we call your wife, or are you going to go ahead without speaking? Boom. And they'll make a decision, yes or no. And you either end up on a call with the wife and do that to close the deal, or you do. But this is the process.
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So in closing, that's literally what it is. I think the hardest thing about this is to not talk.
Okay.
People, if you're talking, you're losing. That's, yeah. If you are talking, you're losing. Meaning, the people that doesn't ask the right question, doesn't get the answer to give the information so they can get to the closing part of the conversation. There's this part where you're now in a conversation where they know you want them to do this thing. And there's some form of an exchange, whatever it is. And they know you want them to do it, you know that they know that you want them to do it, and it's this kind of like mental battle that goes on.
Yeah.
And people kind of like get all weirded out. Instead of just stop talking. Like, you don't have to tell them, they got to tell you. So if you're talking, you're losing. Meaning, you should be asking the questions.
And then just receiving the info.
Receiving the info, guide the conversation, get them to connect with the solution, make the sale, and then you help them. They go through the program and now you coach them.
Perfect.
See what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, that's it. Any questions on that one?
No, very clear, very clear.
So delivering bad news is, it goes counterintuitive.
Okay.
You would think if you're going to deliver bad news, you need to prepare someone. And people think when you prepare them, this is correct, you should. And when people prepare them, they start with like, yeah, I don't want to upset you. And they start telling people what they don't want to do. When you do that, that person thinks that's exactly what you want to do. It's weird. It's just how it goes. So you have to come in with the conversation where you just come in straight. Like, it's like, hey dude, I've got some bad news. I said, you start there. And what happens with them is they go to the worst case scenario.
Okay.
Now you know everyone, what they do when they hear something and they go, ooh, the first you do the same, I do the same. We think of the worst possible thing that can happen. And then we will now assume or refer or think about, reference the things we do against that worst scenario, rather than multiple, sometimes hundreds or thousands other scenarios that could play out. So they go to their worst case scenario, and then when you deliver the bad news, it is better than their worst case scenario.
So it's like, oh, okay, so it's not that bad.
Yes,
It's
and it
okay.
diffuses the emotion of the reaction that they, because people are reactive, most people not, they don't control the emotions, so they're like, wow, get the spasm, so you accommodate that
Yeah. Okay.
by going in straight. It's like, okay, I've got some bad news, and then you go.
Okay.
Then, if you want to go one step deeper, then it is like, I've got some bad news, and I'm sure, and then you start diffusing. I'm sure you're not going to like me after I say this. You're going to feel that I am not on your side, I'm sure. And you just start saying all the things that you think could go wrong. Then they are going to go, yeah, and confirm, or they're going to go, no, man, what do you mean? And they're going to tell you whatever it is. So in communication, you've got to remember that it's only true when they say so. If I say to you, like, hey, dude, you think it's a good idea? And you're like, and you walk on, you haven't actually said it yourself. It's not a good idea for you. I might think it's a good idea, but you don't. You like, only when you're like, yeah, it's a good idea. Then now it became like your voice.
Yeah.
And when it becomes your voice, you take ownership of it. So when you want someone to agree with you, they have to have, the words must come out of their mouth to agree, otherwise it doesn't.
Yeah.
They have their perspective, you have your perspective, it's a disconnect, it's a gap.
Like building their truth in a way.
Yes,
Like having control over the conversation, thinking they have control over the conversation.
yes,
So it
100%.
builds trust within the conversation and what we're speaking about. So it's like,
Yes.
okay, cool, I feel safe, I feel trusted, I can put my 100% thought into whatever.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, and then that, the moment they trust you, then they start sharing with you. When they start sharing with you, you can find out what the problem is, find the problem, find the solution, present the solution, connect it to the buy.
Yeah.
And they buy mean, not they buy a program from you, that buy, like someone go to the shop and buy you a chocolate, they had to buy into that sale that you had to make to get them to go there.
Exactly.
So that's all you do. You're always just gathering that, and you're just doing exactly that. So delivering bad news kind of comes in like 3 stages. This is how I've been taught this framework in a little bit of a different ways. I've more personalized a little bit for myself in terms of I've got it to work multiple times consecutively over and over and over. So the first thing that you do is you're going to feel nervous because you now got to call the elephant and the thing. You've got to go straight in. So the first thing is that you go for no. Go for no means when you ask someone a yes question, meaning I said to you like, hey dude, would you like to go for a beer tonight? If you feel obligated to say yes, you feel like you're trapped in some way. And most people feel obligated when you ask them. And when you say yes, like it gets you that weird feeling. If I say, dude, are you against going for a beer tonight? If you're not a drinker, you're like, yeah, dude, I'm against it. If I give you the option to say no, you know you can trust me. You just know it on a human level. I mean, like, you're allowed to say no. Like, I'm not here to shove this thing down your throat because I want money or whatever. It's not, we're having a conversation. If this solution is going to work for you, I believe it's the best solution out there, and you should buy it now. You see what I'm saying? It's very normal. So when you go in with a no, you set it up so you can have that conversation. If you then call and you say, hey, this is Sage from Self-Improved, have you got 2 minutes, I won't waste your time. It's like,
Yeah, there's no trust built.
yeah, now you've got to say yes, but you know what you're going to say yes to. It's like where if I just went like, hey, listen, this is Sage from Self-Improved, it's now a bad time to talk. Yeah.
Because once again, it gives them control of the conversation. So
Yeah.
I can say no, and it's my choice to say no.
And when people know they can say no, they actually don't.
Yeah, that's true.
They only say no when they think they can't. So they say that to keep their autonomy. If you allow them to say no, they're like, oh no, I've got autonomy here, bro. I can know what to do. And then they open up almost instantly. So go for no is the first thing. After you go for no, you always have to diffuse the conversation. So by diffusing the conversation is saying what you think the worst case scenario would be in some ways. In other ways, it is you taking a guess and how they feel about the whole thing and just throw it at them. You say, I'm sure you feel bomb, or I'm sure it looks like, or I'm sure it sounds like bomb. I mean this, I'm that. I'm sure you think I'm a bad person for doing that. And they'll go, no man, what do you mean? And you know, okay, they don't. Good news. It's information. Does it make sense? Now you've got that info, next move. Okay, they don't. So once you've got it diffused, then you've got to give them a reason for your call, a reason for your conversation, a reason for the meeting. You know when you officially have to start the conversation towards a point.
Yeah.
Like, so the reason for my call, my meeting, that's the next one. This is no words that just work. The reason for my call. So we say call now, but it doesn't matter what it is. Like, okay, dude, the reason we are here today, the reason we are here tonight is so that we can do this training with you. You want to start selling next month, and that's exactly why we're here. See, example, boom. And now I'm into whatever it is, and my diffuse between us, like, dude, I'm sure we don't have enough time for this, but like, let's just do what we can. The reason we are here is dun. You see what I'm saying? So are you against us skipping the chit chat and getting straight into it?
No.
Well, don't even have to diffuse. I'm sure this is going to go fast. So if you've got questions afterwards, no problem. Let's just stop whenever you need to put your hand up. Okay. And then, so the reason we are here tonight is so that we can talk about delivering bad news and how you can go and feel empowered when you do that, rather than go and not knowing what to do and act as a victim.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Perfect.
Yeah. And then from the reason we call Venus, it's like, okay, so now here's the bad news. You land the bad news, you just say what it is. It's like, you don't have to sugarcoat nothing, you just say what it is. You've already set it up. They think the worst thing on planet Earth can happen in their mind. And then you land it. And they're like, oh, okay. And if it's worse, well, then you just backtrack and you go back to, look, the reason we are here is for dun. So we don't want to fight, and you just get back to the thing and you land it again.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to not say how you feel. You can. You just have to be tactical as you go by. Does it make sense?
Yeah. 100%.
So then you land it. Once you've landed, you have to end it positively. Always. So this here is step 1. This here is step 2. Okay. And then end positively. Then step 3. It's like the 3 major guidelines. It's not steps, it's just phases of a conversation. So when you start with someone, make a habit of starting with no. Like, just make a habit, like, hey mom, are you against me driving the car? Instead of, hey mom, can I drive the car? You just make the choice, you see what I'm saying? And you switch it up. Then if you start with no, that's like 50% win already. And then you just go through, okay, so what could be the issues when you prepare for a tough conversation? So if I'm going to diffuse it, what is the issues? And you write it down. What's all the best things and all the worst things, and all the things in between. So then when you diffuse it, you sit in the meeting or you're on the call, whatever, in the combo, and you just throw it at them. I'm sure it's going to look like, sound like, feel like. You just go, oh. And they come back and they go like yes or no. And if they go yeah, now you know you're on the right path. And you keep going. The reason for a call. Okay, great. The reason for a call. Boom. You see how it goes. So that's like the phase 1. Now you're in the call. Phase 2 is like, za. You just hear it. And then phase 3 is, listen, dude, I'm sure this is super hard news for you to take. It's obviously not something fun to hear. And I just want to let you know, there's so much else, other things that you actually do fucking awesome. Sorry, kids. And I just want to let you know that this doesn't define you. It's just the one thing you need to adjust.
Yeah, and on a positive note, so...
And now, first impression, last impression. Let's talk about that for a minute. Let's try that right there. So first impression is over here. Last impression is over here. Used to this. The first impression, that saying, judge a book by its cover, like there's many ways to say that book, that saying. That saying goes with first impression, in my perspective, where when someone sees you, the very first thing that they see, their brain burn images of those things. Like the brain works that way. So they are judging a book by its cover. If you're wearing an overall, they automatically will think you work as a mechanic or something. Automatically, or a janitor, or whatever the case may be. If you wear a suit, they automatically will lean towards your business, corporate kind of person, profession. You know what I mean? So the first impression is important, and it's not important to show a fake picture of who you are. It's who are you? When your first impression is there, do they meet you, or do they meet the person you're pretending to be until they find out who you are? That's the difference.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
Yes.
That's the first impression. So it plays a role in the whole situation, but that thing of like, yeah, it's the most important, it's not the most important. The last impression is the lasting impression. So my coach teach me, and it works. Whatever I just told you now in that conversation, what do you remember?
The last of us ending it positive.
What did I say to you?
What the positive, ending it positively. Yeah. That's sorry, but it's bad news, but you are good at all of these other things.
So you can remember what I said, right? So that's what you'll remember tomorrow when you see me, or the next time. So whenever the person sees you the next time, they remember the last impression, not the first one.
Okay.
Does it make sense? But they both are part of the whole deal when you communicate. Okay. Delivering bad news. Well, thank you for watching. If there was any value that you gained from this, that you can go and apply in your life, please share the episode with as many people as you can. Let's help as many people as we can. Let's pay it forward. If you found any value from this video, also give us a thumbs up. Leave some comments below with some questions that we can answer for you. And I'll see you in the next one.